What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning back in. I hope you've been watching some of the videos that I've been doing about building a business. This video today is going to talk about S Corps. What's an S Corp? If you haven't had a chance to watch it, I've done a couple other videos, one on sole proprietorship and another one on LLC and what an LLC is. Like I said, today is going to be an S Corp or an S Corporation and what that is, some of the pros and some of the cons. So let's dive into this. On to S Corps. What is it? What's the difference between an S Corp and maybe a C Corp, which is a C Corporation, or an LLC? Since we talked about it in the past, let's go over the difference between an LLC and an S Corp. A LLC is owned by multiple owners, so you do have a cap on that, but it is set in stone on who the owners are. So if you and your wife, you and your boyfriend, you and your girlfriend, whoever you decide that you want to create this corporation with as far as an LLC, you have to create the individuals that are going to be part owners, divvy out their percentages, and they are set in stone to that LLC. An S Corp's a little bit different. You can create shareholders. So what that means is each person gets a part of it, or I'm sure you've heard of the stock market, except for an S Corp is more internally and not a public traded company. An S Corp, just like in the stock market, shares are placed upon each owner. So you can give a percentage of stake to individuals. Say you're creating a business with 3. Maybe that one person's only gonna be part owner. They're gonna be more of a silent member. They're not gonna be there constantly. They're not gonna be there to help on day-to-day transactions, right? They're going to be there when you need them, maybe to get some feedback or so forth. So maybe you want to give them a small percentage. Maybe you want to give them 5-10% of the shares. Where in LLC, you can't do that. Also, you can take and give shares depending on the situation that may arise. But the big thing is to know that an LLC has to have set members. If something changes, you have to go through changing and creating a whole new LLC. With an S Corp, it's not that way. And also, you can, like I said, give shareholders you can actually give up to 100 individuals portions of the share. So you can divvy out that many shares upon the business. So if you have 100 different people that want to be part of that S Corporation, you can divvy out shares accordingly. You can do maybe the full person that's going to be doing day-to-day basis, maybe at 20% of the shares, and then you're divvying down off of that. However it may be, but just keep that in mind. You can have up to 100 shareholders, and you have different options. You are limited, however, on an S Corp compared to a C Corporation. A C Corporation, like I said, can be more individuals, more than 100. So just keep that in mind. There's definitely some other benefits that ensure you and the shareholders are not on the hook. God forbid something goes wrong. So if something happens to the business, liabilities, or debts, anything like that, you guys can't be held responsible. So that can be a good thing. So let's go into some of the pros and cons like we've done in some of the past videos. First, the big thing is we're gonna hit that like button, because I know you wanna hit that like button. Make sure you hit that like button. It helps us out with that YouTube algorithm, and I appreciate it. So let's dive into this. To the pros. No corporate tax on an S Corp. So that saves you in taxes. Everybody loves tax benefits because that means I got more money. So S Corp does not pay corporate tax. It does have reduced taxable gains as well. So if you have gains, you get a reduced taxable gain on that as well. The ability to write off losses. So that's one thing you didn't have in some of your other business, is you can write off losses. So something happens, maybe the pandemic, prime example. You probably had some losses if you've had a business, or if you started a business, or maybe you haven't gotten to that point, but you're deciding on what type of business you want to start. So if you would have had some losses within that month, or within that year, I shouldn't say month, within that year, you can write that off a little bit more easy. So it makes it a little bit easier to write off a loss on the company. So remember that. Liability protection. It gives you more liability protection than an LLC or a sole proprietorship or so forth. So if you have any debts or liabilities that the business has acquired, you can't be held responsible for it. So like, say you go out, you decide that you need to buy this $200,000 piece of equipment and things just don't work out right. It's not gonna hold you liable, it's gonna hold the business liable. So remember that if there's a liability that comes about, sometimes having that corporate backing is a little bit better, okay? So cons, you're limited to the owners of stock or shareholders of stock. So like I said, with a C class, you don't have a limit to it. With an S class or an S corporation, I don't know why I said C class, a C corporation, you do not have a limit. An S corporation, you do have a limit. So remember that in that sense. If you're planning on making this business larger, it might be some of those things. But also, in that being said, there's nobody that tells you can't start out small and create a business and change the business structure down the road. Do you have to start out as an S corporation? No. Do you have to start out as a C corporation? No. Can you change to one of those corporations? Most definitely. You can easily change the structure. And like I said, it depends on what you're looking to do. Are you looking to make this company big? Are you looking to offer, shares to it? Are you looking to, the nice thing about that is you have some flexibility to offer somebody some stake in the game. So with them being part owner, guess what? They're going to pay you a little bit of money for, building that business up. So remember that too. If they're a part owner, they're going to have to put some skin in the game. You're not going to sell them part of your business for peanuts, right? You're going to want some money for it. So remember, if you're giving them something, they're going to give you something in return. So one of the other cons is S Corps require meetings. And what I mean by that is you have to physically log company minutes that you are doing meetings, okay? So you can't just decide, hey, we got 15 employees and we're an LLC and I'm holding a meeting. Nobody's gonna look at that kind of stuff. With an S corporation, you have to actually have logged minutes. So if you're logging minutes, that's kind of a con. You gotta make sure, hey, don't get me wrong, meetings are a great tool to be utilizing, but sometimes business just happens and maybe you don't have that time that you can put in and you're not able to do things. Plus, when it's required of you, also now, guess what? You got to put time in, you got to put effort in, you got to spend the time and effort of tracking it and keeping, so there's so many things that become overwhelming, and it's just another thing that you got to make sure that you're doing. You got to log corporate meetings. It's closer to IRS scrutiny. And what I mean by that is maybe you're not doing things right, and you can be flagged a little bit quicker in an S Corp and a C Corporation than you can in some of your LLCs, your sole proprietor, those kind of things. So a little bit more scrutiny from the IRS. Less flexibility on income and loss. So a little bit less flexibility than that on like a C class or a C Corporation, some of those things, but so that's pretty much our pros and cons. What I want you to do is realize, like I said, some of the benefits to some of these different corporations, and we're going to continue to go into a C corporation next. But it at least gives you an outline of different business structures. We've done now sole proprietorship. If you haven't seen that, check it out in the link. And then we also did LLCs. Like I said, now we've touched base on S Corp. This is just creating our outline of the platform that we're going to do, and also more information that we're going to teach you on building a business. So if you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, continue to follow us on our path as we can continue to build a business. And I will also be doing some more videos on buying a business, but my main focus right now has been getting these corporate entities out of the way, or all these business entities, so that way everybody has an idea of the different corporations or the different structure when they do want to start building that business. Thanks again for tuning in. My name's Jeremy Guldin, and I appreciate you watching. and I look forward to seeing you next time.